I want to talk to you some more about coaching guilt. Professional coaching skills can help Scrum Masters to be really, really effective with their teams and help their teams to become higher performing. When we look at professional coaching skills, they come in four basically different groupings. The first is verbal communication skills. Check out the verbal communication skills video to learn more about this. Then we have, no, that's not good. I'm just going to cut those. The next group of coaching skills that Scrum Masters can find really effective are the relational or forwarding skills. Remember, these are the skills that Scrum Masters use in order to build trust and relationship that forwards the team or forwards the client. Um, it enhances their ability to actually discover and to make changes that will help them to grow. The first of the forwarding skills is championing. What this is helping people see the greatness that's in themselves that you can see, but maybe they don't. It's having a desire for people to be successful and to accomplish the things that they don't even believe they can accomplish. It's you seeing it in them and declaring it to them. So it might look like saying, what I really want for you is success in this area. What I really want for you is to recognize how great you are at what you're doing. What I really want for you is that you would see yourself the way everybody else sees you. Depending on the person, depending on the situation, you would have different things to say. But this is about being that one who's in their corner, cheering them on, saying, I know you can do this. I see it in you. I see greatness in you. I know you can do this. I believe in you, and I'm here to remind you who you are. Now, when championing, this is not about creating some false thing. It's about really believing in the person and just saying what you see in them, reminding them of what you see in them, reminding them that the goals they have, that the work they're doing is not just a waste of time, but they are getting somewhere. The coaching skill of acknowledgement is about pointing out specific skills or personality traits that you see that signify growth or change. So it might be saying, wow, doing that really took a lot of courage. Or it might be that you say something like, I've noticed that you have been really, really detailed in the work you're doing, and I believe it's having an impact on the team. So acknowledgement is actually seeing something someone is doing or a personality trait that they are displaying and pointing that out and acknowledging for them for that and saying, I see this and it shows me that you're growing. I see this and it's impacting the team. I see this. You should be proud of that. Requesting is a skill that is asking someone to take a specific action to move forward. Now, this is a little bit different than you may have believed in the past that coaches or scrum masters who are team coaches work with their teams. There's a common thinking that we don't give ideas and we don't give solutions. And while that is true, sometimes in order to help someone move forward, we would request that they take a specific action. Usually it's in an area where they are hesitant to make a change, but you know that making a change, if they just try it, they will know that this was the right thing to do. So, for example, you might tell someone, um, make a request of someone, of a team, that they just try an experiment. So maybe they've talked about 3 or 4 things that they could do, and they just don't have the courage to try any of them, or they just feel like, you know what, none of this is going to work. Let's just keep doing what we've been doing. You would use the skill of requesting by saying, hey guys, can I make a request? Well, can we just try one experiment? Can we just try to do this one thing for 2 weeks? And if it doesn't work, then we can stop. Requesting might look like going to having a conversation with an individual and seeing that the individual really wants to, maybe move forward in their career, and they would like to go to college, but they don't really know what the next step is, or they're afraid to take the next step. Requesting might sound like, I'd like to make a request that between now and the next time we talk next week, that you at least go on the internet and check out 4 colleges and see what they have to offer. So it's not really giving them a solution, but it's making a request that helps them to take a specific action to move further toward the goal they really want. Challenging is different. Challenging is, again, making a specific request, but it's usually something really big, and it's bigger than they believe is possible. Now, it's really important to explain to the people you're coaching, if you're going to use the challenging skill, that when I challenge you to do something, or even when I request for you to do something, either way, there are 3 responses that you can give me as a coach. If I challenge you to do something, you can accept the challenge. Or you can reject the challenge and say no. So you can say yes, or you can say no, or you can counter offer. So maybe I challenge you to go buy a Lamborghini, and your response is a counter offer. Well, I won't buy a Lamborghini, but I will go and see which Toyota I like. An example of challenging that I can give, I was coaching a Scrum Master a few weeks ago, and we were talking about that person's desire to do things right and to do things perfect and to not make mistakes, but they really, really just wanted to be good at what they did. And we recognized throughout that conversation that being really good at what they did sometimes held them back from learning and trying new things because they didn't want to mess up. So I challenged that Scrum Master that between now and the next time we talk in 2 weeks, I am challenging you to go out and fail 3 times. I want you to have 3 just failures. Do things that you never tried to do before. Step out, just do stuff because you see it or you think it or you believe it, or you just are going to step out there in the air. And I want to challenge you to fail 3 times between now and then. That Scrum Master's response to me was, well, I don't think I'm willing to do that, but I am willing to fail 1 time. It was like, great, let's see what you learn from that experience. That's an example of challenging. Inquiry is a skill that is about leaving someone with a question that really hits home and telling them, you know what, think about this. I just want to leave you with this thought. So it might look like leaving someone with a question of, hey, Over the next 2 weeks, I want you to think about something. What would it look like to not be afraid? That's it. Don't explain it. Don't tell them how to think about it. Just ask a question. Can you see how that question would require thought and they would have to really dig deep in order to answer that for themselves? It's not about them coming back and giving you the answer. It's about what they learn and what they discover because they've pondered this. It's an inquiry. It causes them to inquire of themselves so that they can make new discoveries. Holding the focus. This is the skill of bringing the conversation back into focus when it steers off course. So when people take rabbit holes, it's the bringing them back into what we should be talking about. Now remember, coaching clients hold the focus of the coaching, so they determine the agenda. So when we talk to people and we decide what are we supposed to be talking about today, and they steer off, you bring them back. And sometimes that bringing them back is asking, so we started off over here and you said you wanted to talk about this thing, but now we're talking about this thing. Is it more helpful to come back, or is it more helpful to keep going in this vein? And let the client or the team decide what's the best for them right now. Don't be so rigid on bringing them back to the original intent of the conversation that they lose the value of the conversation. Sometimes conversations do need to shift, but we need to be in control of, are we shifting at the right time, or do you guys need to bring this back? Sometimes there's a matter of saying, maybe in a daily scrum or in a grooming session when we should be focusing on the plan for the day in a daily scrum, or requirements rather than solving in a grooming session. Sometimes there's the opportunity to say, hey guys, can we parking lot that discussion right there and come back to this one? That would be holding the focus. Accountability is about being a mirror to people and helping them to take their actions that they planned, or to even discover what they learned through the inaction that they took. So when we talk about accountability, it's not the traditional, I'm your manager and I'm holding you accountable for doing what you said or doing something that you have to do. It's not that kind of accountability. This is holding their plan up in your hand loosely and lifting it up to them, or being a mirror to them that says, so you said you wanted to do this. How did that go? Their response might be, oh, it went well. What did you learn? I learned this. But their response might be, I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. And then it's the opportunity to say, okay, well, what did you learn? What did you learn about not doing that? That's accountability. Granting power to the coaching relationship is a skill in coaching, and it's really, really important. It's about recognizing that it's the balance of power and trust in the relationship that helps bring about change and growth. The coach doesn't have power over who they're coaching. They don't drive and push and make the decisions. And the person being coached doesn't have power over the coach either. The coach owns the process of coaching, and the people being coached own what success looks like and what the agenda looks like and where they need to go. And it's that balance of power of, I'm here as the coach to help you get where you say you want to be, and you as the client make the decisions about where you want to be and how you want to get there. It's that balance that helps to bring about change and growth. So it's a skill to constantly recognize that while you own the process, you don't own the decisions, and not allowing the client to get underneath you and expect you to tell them where to go. Designed alliance is about the coach and the client determining together what the relationship is going to look like. How will we work together? How do you want me to tell you when I make observations? It's explaining to them what coaching looks like and deciding together where we want to go. It's that coaching contract. It talks about how are we going to remain in a confidential and trusting space? How will I know if I've crossed the line? How will you tell me if I've offended you? It's those things. It's like a working agreement with a scrum team. So the scrum team decides in a working agreement.
It's 4 o'clock.
So the scrum team decides in a working agreement how they are going to work together and what they will do when situations occur that they know will inevitably occur. It's the same thing. Designed alliance is that working agreement between the coach and the team, or the coach and the client that they're coaching. Deepen and forward is another coaching skill. And this is pushing people to go to a deeper level of learning so that they can move forward. This is a skill. There is a learning process as a coach of understanding when people are having surface conversations and when you need to push them harder to go a little bit deeper. It's really easy for people to talk about things on the surface, but not really talk about the whole issue or the real thing. It's really easy to talk about symptoms and not the real problem or the root cause. It's really easy as a coach to get into this place of coaching the problem and not the person or the people involved. Deepening and forwarding is about recognizing when we need to go deeper and I need to probe harder or push a little harder or use other skills that get the team to a place where they're really talking about the real issues and really, really digging in and learning what they need to learn. You see this a lot in retrospectives where you don't just go easy on them and let them come up with simple improvement plans like, oh yeah, we'll do better. Or we're going to keep being great at what we do, or we're going to try harder. That's really weak. This is pushing harder and saying, okay, so what does it look like to try harder? How are you going to know that you tried harder? Give me something concrete. These are the skills in the relational and forwarding skills section or grouping of coaching skills. Remember, these take time to learn, and it's through practice that you learn these. I encourage you to get mentoring. I encourage you to get one-on-one coaching so that you can begin to learn some of these skills. Try them out with your team. Don't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail. We all fail. But remember, you learn more through failing than you learn through not trying. Let me know how it's going.